Some homes are built on chains. Clara knelt on the cold stone of the castle floor, scrubbing the remnants of a life she had never chosen. Her hands, raw and sore, moved mechanically, scrubbing the dirt that seemed stubbornly embedded in the hard surface. The echoes of past laughter haunted the halls. Yet she sat alone, a silent ghost in a castle that felt more like a prison. The air was thick with a damp chill, and every breath dragged heavier in her chest. She was bound by duty, by obligation, by a life sold to the highest bidder. No family, no warmth, no peace, pregnant. That word hung above her like a storm cloud, rewriting her fate. A life growing inside her, fragile yet fierce, and she was terrified. Fear gripped her heart like a vice. What future awaited her child here? In this castle of shadows? A battle raged internally, her spirit weighed down by the chains of servitude. Memories of laughter, of love, flickered like dying embers. Dreams of freedom, of a place to call home, felt impossibly far away. But something in the air felt different tonight, a tremor in the fabric of existence. Draven roamed the labyrinthine halls of his castle, an ancient fortress bearing the scars of grief and duty. For centuries, he had lurked in the shadows, a king bound by blood and sorrow. Tonight, the weight of his history pressed against him like 1,000 stones. He could sense the wolf prowling beneath his skin, restless and hungry for connection, but fear held him back. He had watched friends die, witnessed betrayal shatter his world. Now, he haunted the halls alone, searching for solace that always slipped from his grasp. His heart thundered in his chest, the castle ringing with silent screams. With each step, he could feel it, a pull, an instinct that thrummed in his veins. He rounded a corner, and then he saw her, Clara, small, delicate, scrubbing the stone like it was her entire existence. She looked up, dark hair framing a face worn by hardship, eyes filled with a glimmer of defiance. The moment their gazes locked, time stopped. The world melted away, leaving just them, two souls adrift in a sea of despair. Then it hit him, a jolt of recognition that sent his senses spiraling. Her scent wrapped around him, honeysuckle and rain, a blend intoxicatingly fresh. His Lycan instincts roared to life, screaming one word: mate. The bond surged through him, ancient and primal, illuminating the dark corners of his heart. But reality crashed back in. He was a king. She was a servant. There were laws, tradition, expectations that loomed like mountains between them. His heart raced, fear mingling with desire. Could he risk the chance? Could she? Their worlds collided, yet felt impossibly distant. The questions swirled, a maelstrom of possibilities. He forced himself to step back, to breathe through the overwhelming sensations flooding him. Then, the sound shattered the moment. A distant crash echoed through the castle, followed by shouts. A raid? The emissaries had returned, seeking power from the darkness. Draven's instincts kicked into overdrive. Protect, always protect. He had failed once before, not again. Clara straightened, her back tense, eyes darting toward the noise. She gripped the scrubbing brush, expression shifting from surprise to resolve. Would she hide? Or would she defend herself? The thought sparked something in Draven, a fierce instinct awakening within him, an overwhelming need to protect her, to turn this moment into something more than duty, ignited in his chest. The last flicker of restraint slipped away. His footsteps echoed louder against the stones as he moved toward the sound, heart pounding. Could he keep her safe? Draven charged through the dimly lit corridors, heart pounding, instincts crashing against each other like waves against a cliff. The castle brimmed with a history that weighed on his shoulders, yet he had never felt more alive, more determined. The memories of loss twisted his gut, driving him forward. Clara's presence lingered behind him, igniting a fire he had thought extinguished long ago. The castle had been his childhood playground, his only home for centuries. Built on the backs of warriors, it stood as a monument to power and pain. He had ruled fiercely, but with each new battle fought, he had lost a piece of himself. The deaths of family and friends haunted him, friends betrayed, loyalty shattered, all echoes of a past that twisted in the shadows. Now each stone seemed to whisper their names, their fate intertwined with his. Tonight was different. He could feel it. The air thrummed with tension, a storm brewing on the horizon. He had sacrificed relationships for duty, but he hadn't known true loneliness until he saw Clara. Her fight, her quiet strength, resonated within him. She reminded him of every lost hope and every unfulfilled dream, and she was here, within his castle, scrubbing away the remnants of his grief, unaware of the power she held over him. Clara had been torn from a desolate past, sold into servitude at a young age, the victim of a cruel world. Memories of a loving family, buried in poverty and struggle, haunted her relentless nights. They were the ghosts that pushed her forward, whispering of resilience, of hope. Even as she scrubbed the stone floor with aching hands, dreams flitted through her mind. A glimpse of freedom, a future where her child would not know the burn of chains. Her spirit remained unbroken, but deep down, she knew the fragility of hope in a castle that felt like a tomb. In the kitchens, she observed the way the nobles treated others, the cruel indifference that shaped her current reality. They treated servants as tools rather than humans, but Clara had always refused to conform entirely. Arguments and laughter, sweet moments of camaraderie shared with fellow servants, fueled her desire to find light even in the darkest corners of the castle. She longed for the day when she could step out of her shadow, reclaim herself. But tonight, everything was uncertain. The sudden noise of chaos jolted her from thoughts of escape. The distant sounds of clashing steel and shouted orders echoed through the castle, growing louder. Her gut twisted. Who was attacking? Her only instinct to survive, to protect herself and her child, flared to life. She had seen the stories play out. Emissaries lurking. Power-hungry men who would gladly claw their way to the top regardless of who they harmed. Every time they stormed the castle, fear consumed the air, a chill wrapping around the heart of everyone within. Would tonight be the night they came for her? A life snuffed out before it could begin. Clara stepped out of the shadows, leaving her post by the stone. She felt the determination swell within her as she surveyed the chaos beyond the kitchen door. Would she stay hidden, or challenge the fate that sought to bind her? Memories of her family flooded back, their faces urging her to choose courage. Just as she steeled herself, King Draven burst into her line of sight, determination etched into his expression. He positioned himself like a shield. She saw the wolf within him come alive. He moved with purpose, but fear danced behind his eyes. She wanted to call out to him, to express her own readiness to fight, but the words caught in her throat. Would he see her? Would he acknowledge her strength? As he pushed past her, she reached out, fingers brushing against his arm. The contact sent a shock of warmth through her. "Your Majesty, please, what can I do?" Her voice rang out, strong but laced with urgency. Draven turned, eyes wide. "Stay back, Clara. I won't let you get hurt." But the fierce protectiveness in his voice sent a thrill through her. It sparked the fierce instinct that mirrored his own. "No!" she shot back, resolve igniting her tone. "I can help. I won't hide while you fight." He hesitated, an internal battle waging behind his eyes, but the tension of their surroundings tightened. He gripped her shoulders, gaze fierce. "Then fight beside me." That shared moment ignited a fire between them, a connection that felt almost fated. The clash of steel intensified around them. They stepped forward together, hearts racing as they braced for whatever came next. Could they defy the odds stacked against them? The chaos roared to life around them, a tempest of clashing steel and desperate shouts. Draven's eyes blazed with a fierce determination as he moved, instinctively positioning himself between Clara and the oncoming threat. It wasn't just duty driving him. It was something deeper, a surge of protectiveness that ignited his every nerve. He couldn't lose her, not when he had just begun to understand the bond that drew them together. Clara stepped beside him, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She had spent years in the shadows, but now, fighting surged within her, awakening strength she wasn't entirely aware she possessed. She wielded a kitchen knife, heart pounding in her chest. Would she be enough? The roar of the intruders fueled her determination, drove her forward into the heart of the chaos. Draven glanced at her, surprise flickering in his eyes, but he didn't let it deter him. Together, they surged into the fray, the unyielding bond between them fueling their resolve, their instincts intertwined, creating an electricity that seemed to ward off the danger surrounding them. A few feet ahead, Draven clashed swords with an intruder, muscles taut, power radiating from him as he defended both his kingdom and Clara. "Stay close!" he shouted between strikes, voice steady, echoing with authority. Clara's heart surged. Stay close. Those two little words felt monumental. She felt seen, not merely as a servant but as a partner. She moved in synchrony with him, dodging, striking, unleashing rapid stabs like a storm. In the midst of the fierce engagement, moments stirred that transcended combat. Draven took a quick breath and threw a glance back at Clara. Her determination, her fearlessness, it shimmered in her eyes, filling him with strength. She was no ordinary servant. She was a warrior, passionate and willing to fight not just for survival, but for something greater. "Right flank!" he barked suddenly, redirecting his focus. Clara responded instinctively, intercepting an enemy that slipped past him. The blade glinted in the torchlight, a flash of steel. Her strike found its mark. The intruder fell back, surprised, but she did not hesitate. She was fast, agile, a force unto herself. "Nice work," Draven said, pride evident in his voice. "Don't get used to it," Clara shot back, breathless, yet exhilarated. They moved through the din together, weaving seamlessly, covering each other's weaknesses as if they had trained for this very moment their whole lives. Time twisted, nothing but adrenaline and instinct as the fight ebbed and flowed around them. Clara caught a glimpse of a man shrouded in shadows, leading the raid, the noble they both feared. It was him. Anger surged through her veins. She felt the urge to shout, to warn Draven, but the storm of battle roared too loudly. Then, within the chaos, their eyes collided again. A heartbeat's pause, the world narrowing until it was just them, together in this whirlwind, facing the danger head-on. They were undeniably linked by this moment, not just out of necessity, but by a growing bond neither of them could ignore. But danger was relentless. The noble unleashed a sudden assault, his blade striking toward Draven. Clara's instincts flared, her heart racing. "No!" she shouted, adrenaline surging as she launched herself forward, leaping to intercept. The impact knocked her to the side. She cried out in pain, but she wouldn't let it define her. She struggled to her feet, ready to resume the battle, though darkness swept over her vision. "Clara!" Draven's voice shattered her thoughts as he turned, anger igniting within him, the wolf within awakening fiercely. Only a moment, but it felt eternal. He roared, a beast protecting his mate. His muscles coiled, feral instincts unleashed. "Get away from her!" he growled, a powerful command resonating with pure rage. The noble stepped back, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, but the moment ended as quickly as it began. A scrap of courage surged in Clara. "I'm not weak," she cried, rising to her feet, defiant. Then, just like that, they were thrust back into the fight, her determination rallying, his protective fury bolstering their bond. They fought like fire, weaving through their enemies, every clash of steel punctuating their connection. Eventually, the battle turned in their favor, the intruders pushing back, retreating into the shadows. Victory felt sweet, yet fragile, as if it could vanish in an instant. But amidst the aftermath, as silence began to settle, Clara glanced at Draven. "Are you okay?" she asked, breath ragged, fear still nipping at her heels. He looked down at her, eyes softening as the wolf retreated. "I will be. We will be." A silence hung heavy, yet a new understanding crept between them, the air saturated with unspoken words. Reality rushed in, a tide of uncertainty. Clara began to understand the depth of their bond. The mate instinct had ignited something that could no longer be ignored. "What about us?" Clara whispered, uncertainty creeping into her voice. He took a deep breath, the weight of his responsibilities clashing against the desires surging within him. "It will be difficult," he replied, voice low, conflicted but earnest. "But you were brave tonight. You have the heart of a warrior. Could they truly defy their fates entwined in this perilous dance?" The aftermath of the battle left the castle in eerie silence, a quiet that felt both solemn and victorious. Clara's heart still raced, a wild drum echoing in her chest, the adrenaline ebbing but the fire unextinguished. Every clash of swords, every desperate gasp played on repeat in her mind, a haunting melody of survival. The air was thick with the ashes of battle, a testament to their newfound bond, but also a reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows. Draven led her deeper into the castle, away from the remnants of chaos, their footsteps echoing against the cold stone walls. Every instinct screamed for them to find shelter, solace, a place where the world outside couldn't reach them. As they reached his chamber, he paused, turning to face her, eyes intense and filled with something she dared to hope was understanding. Clara. He hesitated, emotion flickering across his features like a candle in the wind. What we did tonight. It changed everything. Her breath hitched. The weight of his gaze felt heavy, electric, as if the very air shimmered with unspoken truths. Yes, she whispered, heart fluttering. It felt right. I shouldn't have allowed you to fight, he said, the regret evident in his voice as he let out a slow breath. You could have been hurt. Maybe, Clara replied, her gaze steady. But I didn't want to hide, Draven. I'm not afraid of standing beside you. But you should be. No. The fierceness of her voice surprised even her. I won't cower any longer. I refuse to be a prisoner in this castle, bound by chains that were made before I was even born. His expression softened, admiration breaching the walls of his guarded heart. You truly are a warrior, he acknowledged, each word laced with respect and a hint of reluctance. Yet, the world we live in, it's complicated. Complicated? Clara echoed, incredulous. You mean dangerous? But we can navigate it together, can't we? Despite the seriousness of the moment, a smile teased the corners of Draven's lips. You believe you can teach me? I believe you can teach me as well. There's power in our connection, and we need to harness it. Draven's brows furrowed, considering the enormity of what she suggested. If we seek to align ourselves against the court, we need to be prepared for everything they throw at us. Manipulations, traps, lies. Clara felt her resolve solidify, determination swelling within her. I'm ready. I've already faced the darkness that clings to this place. I won't let it suffocate me any longer. With you, I can do so much more. He stepped closer, the warmth radiating from him wrapping around her like a cloak. Then let's forge a new path, he murmured, but his tone held the gravity of a promise that felt as heavy as the looming threat outside. Days blurred into nights, the castle recovering from the chaos, yet still tinged with tension. Clara and Draven spent every moment together, forging a fragile alliance built on mutual respect and shared desires. Their conversations flowed like a river, covering their hopes and fears, eventually delving deeper into the realms of possibility they had yet to explore. The walls that had once boxed them in seemed to fade as their connection evolved into something raw and undeniable. Every glance exchanged sent a thrill racing down Clara's spine. The moments stretched, those lingering gazes, the accidental brushing of hands. The intensity simmered beneath the surface, an electricity that seemed to ward off the dangers surrounding them. But the storm of eventual confrontation loomed endlessly over them, darkness gathering in the corners of their lives. One evening, deep within the war room, Clara found herself pacing, her feet restless against the cold stone floor. Draven leaned against the table, arms crossed, his presence like a shield that both reassured and unsettled her. You're restless, he observed, his voice low, a mix of concern and curiosity. In this castle? Of course I am. She halted, facing him, eyes ignited with a fire that had been kindling within her. Every day, it's the same. The walls, the shadows. I feel like I'm suffocating in here. He stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking, the air thickening with unspent energy. What do you truly want, Clara? He searched her eyes, looking for the truth behind her unrest. A life beyond this castle. Not just mere survival, but a life worth living. I want to fight for something greater than just existence. Draven's brow furrowed deeper as the weight of her words hung between them. You know that's dangerous. To fight against the noble court. To claim your place. It can end badly. What if it does? She challenged, stepping closer, a tight knot of determination echoing in her chest. Every day we let fear guide us is a day lost. I refuse to wait for someone to whisk me away to a life I can't even see. The light of admiration flickered in his eyes. You make it sound simple. When has my life ever been simple? She shot back, defiance radiating from every part of her. If we're going to face the world together, we need to conquer what limits us. The expectation that I remain a servant, and you a king, forever separate. Together. The weight of the word hung in the air, a fragile promise that felt as if it could shatter at any moment. If we choose this path, we'll have to be ready for anything. And I will be, Clara said, determination overflowing. I want your heart, here, with me. It's time for us to claim what's ours. He leaned down, closing the distance, wanting to assure her of the depth of his intentions, the sincerity behind his heart that now beat fervently for her. Then let's make those claims. But before they could unravel the gravity of their intentions, a sudden rattle echoed through the castle halls. The door burst open, shadows spilling into the room. An ominous figure emerged, a messenger, pale and frantic. "Your Majesty!" he gasped, breathless. "We have news. The emissaries have returned. They demand your presence immediately, to discuss peace or war." The joy of their moment shattered, instantly replaced by the reality of their situation's cold grip. Draven's mask of calm returned, impenetrable once more, but Clara sensed the tempest brewing within him. "What if they come for you?" she whispered, fear lacing her words, a sharpness that cut through her resolve. "They will," he replied, fierce determination igniting in his gaze, every muscle tightening with the weight of responsibility. "But I won't face them alone." Clara stabilized herself, the conviction solidifying in her heart. "We face them together, then. We'll prove our strength, show them that we are more than mere pawn and king." They stood united in the face of darkness, the bond they formed igniting a flame that could no longer be extinguished. Together, they would navigate the treachery of their world and seek a power beyond their individual might. What lay ahead was uncertain, but one truth resonated with clarity. Their partnership could change everything. Could they defy fate even as shadows closed in around them? The tension in the war room thickened like fog as the messenger's words echoed in Clara's mind. Draven's resolve was palpable, a fire igniting in the depths of his gaze, but Clara felt the sentinels of doubt clawing at her heart. The emissaries were back, and with them, shadows of everything they had fought against. "Get ready," he said, his voice low and commanding. "We don't know what they want, but I won't allow them to dictate our future." The determination in Draven's voice was sharp, slicing through the uncertainty that clouded Clara's thoughts. They were allies now, partners in purpose, and no matter how treacherous the path ahead seemed, she refused to back down. As they turned to face the door, Clara's pulse quickened. "What's the plan? We need to be strategic about this. They won't come with good intentions." Draven nodded, appreciation flickering across his expression. "You're right. We'll need the Council's strength on our side. If they come for war, we must show unity, strength." But beneath his confident exterior, Clara could see the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, hidden but ever present. "Then let's rally them. They need to understand that we stand together." Clara felt a surge of courage. Perhaps it was the chaos of the previous battle or her growing bond with Draven, but something ignited a fierce desire within her. They strode through the castle, a united front, as they summoned the council members. In the meeting hall, tension simmered, palpable as the nobles gathered, their whispers blending into a cacophony of concern. She could feel their gazes darting between her and Draven, suspicion mottling the air. "Your Majesty," one of the council members, Lord Bastion, began, his tone haughty. "What does this urgent summons pertain to?" Draven stepped forward, commanding respect as he addressed the gathering. "The emissaries have returned. They demand our presence, claiming to bring news of peace or war, although we all know their intentions lie somewhere in between." A murmur rippled through the crowd, unease sparking like static electricity. Clara stood close to Draven, the weight of their collective power gaining momentum as everyone turned their attention toward her. How could she seize this moment? Listen, Clara said, her voice rising above the murmurs. We cannot be afraid. We stand on the brink of a new beginning. The world outside our walls is brutal and unforgiving. If we show them fear, they will see weakness. We must fight for a future where we are united. Some faces twisted in skepticism, but others began to nod, picking up on her fervent energy. Lord Bastian frowned, arms crossed defiantly. And what of our traditions? Our titles? The hierarchy that holds this kingdom together? Just throwing those aside will only invite chaos. Chaos is already here, Clara shot back, her heart racing as she met Bastian's gaze. The traditions that bind us have failed to protect us when we need it most. This fight isn't just for loyalty, it's for survival. The council room fell silent, the tension thickening as the nobles absorbed Clara's fierce words. Draven remained quiet at her side, pride gleaming in his expression, but apprehension ebbed at him. How would the council react? Then a voice gained strength from the back. A young noble, one whose name Clara didn't know, yet she recognized determination that mirrored her own. "We want change," he shouted. "We will not remain pawns in this twisted game." A spark ignited through the room. Clara felt the moment shift, the tide turning as whispers of agreement danced among them. They were hungry for hope. "Together, we can resist," Clara urged, stepping deeper into the heart of the room, embodying the spirit of a warrior leading her army into battle. "If we go to them divided, we face failure. If we stand united, we become a force they cannot ignore." The whispers began to build into a roar. Allies were rallying. "United," Draven echoed, his voice strong and steady. "That is the path forward. Together, we will show them that fear cannot dictate this kingdom any longer. We will decide our fate." At that moment, Clara understood, not just in fighting alongside Draven, but here, in this hall, she had stepped into her role beside him. Their partnership wasn't just strategic. It was about forging a new future as a united front against the darkness that loomed. "Then let us prepare," the young noble declared, resolve brightening his features. "Let us be fierce and unwavering." As they began to discuss strategy, spirits lifting in a way that Clara had never witnessed among the nobles, she felt Draven's hand brush against her back. That fleeting touch ignited something deep within her. Strength surged in waves, an affirmation that they were in this together, hearts and souls tied to the war that lay ahead. But as they strategized, doubts lingered at the edges. Would the emissaries agree to peace? Could they truly navigate the treachery that awaited them? Clara squeezed her fists tightly, the weight of responsibility latching onto her, sending a pulse of fear coursing through her veins. "Do you trust me?" Draven whispered beside her, his voice low enough that only she could hear. "Without question," Clara replied firmly, heart racing as her pulse echoed the depths of their connection. "We'll face this together. I believe in us." A brief flicker of a smile crossed his lips, warm and inviting, a glimpse of the fierce wolf coupled with a gentle heart. "Then let's show them what we're made of," he said resolutely. With a newfound fervor igniting their spirit, they began to prepare for the emissary's arrival. As Clara took her place beside Draven, standing tall amidst the looming shadows, she understood this was more than just a fight for their lives. It was a fight for everything they had ever desired. Connection, unity, a future. The emissaries were coming, and together they would not back down. Clara stood at the edge of the throne room, every heartbeat echoing in her ears as the heavy doors swung wide. The emissaries glided in like ominous specters, their cloaks trailing the ground, darkness swirling in their wake. A chill spread through the hall, wrapping every soul in shadow and tension. She felt Draven's presence next to her, strong and unwavering, a constant source of strength in the uncertainty. "Your Majesties," the lead emissary, Lord Alaric, introduced himself with a voice that dripped with calculated charm. "We come bearing terms for peace. Power must align sensibly for kingdoms to thrive." "Peace?" Draven's voice cut through the tension, sharp as a sword. "And what price does that peace require? Will it bind us as subjects to your will?" Alaric's smile faltered for a split second. "A kingdom cannot prosper in chaos. We propose a united front against our adversaries." Clara felt her stomach twist. And what does that mean for us? Are we to be your pawns? Not pawns, Alaric replied, though the condescension lingered in his tone. Allies, but every ally must acknowledge their place. Draven stepped forward, fierce determination emanating from him. You think we will concede willingly to your demands? We fight to reclaim our right to stand as equals. The tension rippled through the gathering council, eyes darting between Clara and the emissaries. Clara felt an electric charge ignite beneath her skin, urging her to stand beside Draven. We are tired of fear ruling our lives. We will not be your lesser counterparts. What you call power is manipulation, she stated, each word steeped in anger. If we are to unite, it must be on equal terms. No more deceit, no more shadows dictating our fates. Alaric's facade started to crack, frustration flickering beneath his composed demeanor. Defiance carries its consequences. You tread a dangerous path, Clara. Then let it be a path toward hope, Clara exclaimed, her voice rising, merging passion with resolve. Our strength lies in unity, not obedience. Together, we can redefine what this alliance means. Draven interjected, his presence a grounding force. Together, we can make this work, but it will require honesty, respect, and shared leadership. The room fell silent, the impact of their words hanging heavily. Clara met Draven's gaze, finding a spark of determination reflected there. They were united, standing for their kingdom, and she felt it in her bones. This was their moment. Your courage intrigues us, Alaric said slowly, masking his surprise. But remember, the balance of power is tenuous. Then let us redefine that balance, Draven challenged, meeting Alaric's gaze with unwavering strength. No more hidden agendas. If we are to ally, it must benefit both sides equally. An interesting proposition, Alaric replied, allowing a hint of respect to creep into his voice. Details must be ironed out, but a united front will require trust on both sides. Clara heard whispers ripple through the council, shifting from doubt to curiosity. There was strength in their unity, and she could feel it transforming the atmosphere. They were on the brink of something bigger than they had imagined. Let's outline our terms clearly, Clara urged, emboldened by the change in tone. We will forge an alliance built on respect, one that leads to collaboration, not submission. As the emissaries began to murmur amongst themselves, discussing their proposed terms, Clara felt her heart swell with hope. They had turned the tide, commanding the atmosphere to yield to their stronghold. Draven squeezed her hand, silent reassurance flowing between them. The fear and uncertainty that had once encased her now shimmered with promise. This day would mark a transformation, a stand against the darkness that had loomed for too long. Through the discussions, Clara could sense the walls of mistrust slowly cracking, allowing light to seep through. The fight was not merely for survival, it was a battle for a future where they could rise together without the shadows of subjugation. As the emissaries nodded, accepting the new terms, Clara felt exhilaration ripple through the council. They would succeed. They would command their destiny. Together, she whispered to Draven, warmth blooming in her chest. They had not just survived the negotiations. They had turned their fates around, creating an alliance steeped in courage and shared determination. With an electrifying blend of anticipation and trepidation, Clara felt a surge of confidence. Their journey was only beginning. United, they would face whatever chaos awaited them, stronger than before. Remember this moment, she whispered to Draven, her heart aligning with his purpose. We've forged a bond that no shadow can eclipse. And as they stood ready to face the world, Clara understood one truth. Their love and unity would be the light guiding them through the chaos yet to come. If you enjoyed the story of Clara and Draven, the bond that defied fate, subscribe for more epic Lycan King romances. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. And remember, true strength is born of unity. Thank you for listening.